I'm Melisa Nielsen. Today we're going to talk about sleep. Now, I've done other videos on sleep, so this is probably not going to be anything new that you're hearing, but maybe you've heard it a different way, and maybe that will help. If you know me, you followed me for a while, you know I'm a huge proponent of sleep. I'm a huge proponent of you getting enough sleep, your children getting enough sleep, your partner getting enough sleep. Sleep makes the world go round. It makes you feel so much better. And, recently I've been trying to hack my sleep even more because I want even better sleep because I want to be able to run every day and get not physically run, but run our company, run. And yeah, I guess physically run too. But there are things that you can do to hack your sleep here and there. But truly, not until you can get to a place of actually getting to bed and having the sleep. So I want to just talk about that space. We talk often about how to get your kids to bed. Runway for bedtime is dinner, and knowing all those pieces, because bedtime really doesn't start when you go upstairs and put in your PJs. No, bedtime starts at dinner. So we talk about sort of stepping that back. And if you're one of our Thinking, Feeling, Willing members and you're struggling with sleep, please come to office hours. Come and talk to us about your sleep struggles because I want to help you. That's what we do. If you are not a Thinking, Feeling, Willing member, but you want to become one, it's really easy, thinkingfeelingwilling.com, or you can hop over to waldorfessentials.com. If you're not a homeschooler and you are listening to us from another capacity, then you are welcome to try our Parents in Sync program. We talk a lot about sleep there as well. So lots of places we can talk about sleep. Sleep is vitally important. It is really what helps you show up every day. Now, I'm going to talk about a couple of different stages of sleep and as far as where you are in your parenting. So, early childhood is exhausting. I'm not going to lie. It's exhausting. But I learned early on that if I co-slept, then I could get more sleep. That was a trail that worked for us. We co-slept. We had 5 children. We co-slept with all of them. And it was something that was super helpful. Now, it's interesting because I co-slept with children with my ex-husband, and then I co-slept with children with Eric. And it was very new to Eric, We got married and he was, we were 32. And he'd never slept with a child before. He'd never had a child in the bed. And so that was new when Super Sam was born. And so... But what's interesting is just how much sleep we were able to get because of it. So I know that there are extenuating circumstances for some families. Maybe your child's got reflux and you have to sit up to nurse, or, there are other things. But what I want to tell you, really what I want to get across is that point, it's not forever. It's not forever. So what you have to do, the trick is when you're in those years is to not make those things habits. So the struggles, you work through the struggle. So when parents say to me, I have a child that sleeps, they have reflux. And I go, okay, what are you doing for the reflux? Well, nothing. No. What are you doing for the reflux? Have you been to the chiropractor? Have you talked to your pediatrician? What are you doing? Are you changing what you're eating? What are the things that you're doing? So be proactive about this sleep thing because it is vitally important. The sleep habits that you help a child form will be the sleep habits that they have when they're in their 40s. Because it's really hard in 50s and beyond. It's really hard to change sleep habits once they've been set. If you're somebody who had sleep struggles as a child and your parent didn't help you sort of get through that space, you're probably knowing what I'm saying and you're like, yes. I have a dear friend, love her to pieces. She is a mom of 3 very busy young children, and she's a single mom, and she's had a struggle with insomnia her whole life. And she said she can count on one hand the times that she slept 8 hours in a stretch. And so that's she's continually trying to hack that space, continually trying to figure that out, because it should be a continual process if you are struggling with that. We want to get you to a place where you have restorative sleep. It is not just about the space of being able to be present and show up, but it's also about your body and your health. So we know that the heart and the brain do not function well and are really struggling when you have those issues, when you're not sleeping well. So I had a stroke 6 years ago, and the thing that tipped it over the edge was the fact that I couldn't sleep. And there was probably a week where I may have slept 2 hours total. And that was the week right before my stroke. And it landed me in the hospital. And then I slept for 30 hours without waking up. They thought I was in a coma at first, but it wasn't. I was just sleeping. Everybody was worried about that. I just slept. I slept for 30 hours straight. They did all these tests and I was asleep the whole time. So you want to not do that. You want to not be in that space. So what I want you to know is if you are struggling with sleep right now, what are you doing about it? Doesn't matter, mom or dad, doesn't matter which parent is watching this. What are you doing about your sleep struggles? So if you're somebody who has, maybe you're a dad listening and you're like, well, I'm working shift work, or mom listening, you're working shift work and you're only home for like a set time. You've got to make sleep your priority. So, one thing that I say, and I'm pretty tight about this, your kids didn't ask to be born into that situation. So you have to make it so that it works for your kids. So don't have your work time alter their sleep time, because they really need it. They really need it. A couple of years ago, I was teaching at a conference and I had a mom that said to me, and it's not always popular when we have this discussion, and it's totally fine to disagree with me. It's fine. I'm a big girl. I don't have to have everybody agree with me, but I know what I'm saying here is right. She said to me, I'm working shift work. My husband's working shift work. We're keeping the kids up so that we can spend time with them. I said, stop that. Shame on you. Because the children need their sleep. They didn't ask to be born into that. And what I was a conference I was teaching in Northern California. She's like, well, this is what I have to do to make ends meet. I said, I get that. And I understand that. And I honor that. But your kids don't need to be that. They didn't ask to be born into that space. So instead, what you do is you find ways to keep their sleep sacred and also get your sleep, and then have that family time on those days off. It's against the law to work 7 days a week unless you're doing 2 different jobs. So on those days off, that's when you capitalize on that family time. The rest of the time you honor sleep. So honoring sleep will help you so much. I know children that struggle with school, whether it be reading struggles, mathematics struggles, or just sitting still. It's worse when they're not sleeping right. So if you've got a child that's got behavioral issues, I want you to ask yourself, are they sleeping enough? So I'm going to read you these guidelines. These are from the Sleep Foundation. It was a National Sleep Foundation study done in 2015, and I'm happy to link it. Just let me know. I'm happy to give you the link to it. I thought it was really interesting. They changed a few things, but really and truly, these are the numbers, right? So newborn, so that's 0 to 3 months. The recommended is 14 to 17 hours. It may be appropriate for it to be as little as 11 and as much as 19. May be appropriate, but generally 14 to 17 hours. Infants, so 4 months to 11 months, 12 to 15 hours. So it might be as appropriate to have as little as 10 and as many as 18, but somewhere in between there. Toddlers, so 1 and 2 year olds. And these are the ones that are they want to snuggle with you to go to bed. And then they want to nurse 15 minutes on and off all night long. So I extended nursed all my kids. But there was a time where I was like, nope, no more babies at night, because you need sleep, and so do they, and it keeps them up. And if they're waking up for that, it's not for nutrition when they're a toddler. So toddlers, 11 hours to 14 hours is what's recommended. It says may be appropriate for as little as 9 and as many as 16. I would say 9 is not enough for a toddler. That's my professional opinion. Preschoolers, those are ages 3 to 5. Anywhere from 10 to 13 hours is what's recommended. And it says 9 hours to 14 hours would also perhaps be appropriate for your child. School-age children, which would be ages 6 to 13, would be 9 to 11 hours. And that's pretty, I see that pretty succinctly with my own children right now. It says maybe appropriate to have 8 to 12 hours, that would be their gap. Teenagers, and I think this is so interesting. So teenagers being 14 to 17 years old would be 8 to 10 hours. As little as 7 and as much as 11 would be their window. So not more than that. So yes, we know that teenagers need more sleep. They need as much sleep as these younger children. Not as much as a newborn though. And so much happens when you can provide an appropriate bedtime routine so that everybody's on a nice rhythm. So young adults, 18 to 25, would be anywhere from 7 to 9 hours, as little as 6 and as many as 11. Adults, so that's where most of us are, right? Like most of us are in this place, 26 to 64. So this space, 7 to 9 hours. It says as little as 6 and as many as 10. So I would say with that, I can rock 6 hours like 2 nights in a row. When I was younger, before my stroke, I could rock 6 hours, probably 3 nights in a row and be all right. But then at some point you're like, oh my gosh, I'm just gonna fall over. Listen to your body. Go to bed when your kids go to bed. Many times I went to bed when they went to bed. So let's back up to where we talked about at the beginning and sort of like how you get this going. So, you know, in Waldorf land, it is popular to light 14 candles, sing 16 songs, and do 10 stories. I'm just teasing a little bit. But I want to back you up on that because light 1 candle, say 1 verse or family prayer, 1 story, and then maybe we do an audiobook. We do Sparkle Stories at night. I love sparklestories.com. The people over there are fantastic. And yeah, I absolutely love them. So I would definitely do a Sparkle Story. They're short, they're age appropriate, their ages run from 3 to adults. And a nice short story would be appropriate after you've done your bedtime routine. But that should be done early. So dinner is the runway for bedtime. So dinner really should be between 5 and 6. I like 5:30 is the sweet spot. So that by 6:30, you're tidying up and they're getting ready for bed. And maybe you and the other parent could trade off, like who's cleaning up versus who's getting kids ready for bed. Do not send them upstairs and tell them to brush their teeth without following up with them. Follow them. I'm going to come with you, or I'm going to give you 5 minutes and then I'm going to come and check on you. And in that 5 minutes, at the 2-minute mark, you go, okay, are your teeth brushed now? Oh, okay. I see you're not ready yet. Are you in your pajamas? Okay, so that way when you come into the bedroom and you're ready for this nighttime space, it's quiet. So no loud media after dinner. Unless, if you're having a family movie night, maybe. But that's not every night. That's not every night. And it shouldn't be for the really little ones. We really hone this bedtime space. Our 9-year-old, she will be 10 in April. She still goes to bed by 8. And that was actually, when she turned 9, we let her stay up till 8. Before that, her bedtime was between 7 and 7:30. So she's 9, she goes to bed by 8. She usually sleeps until sometime between 6 and 7. Sometimes a little bit longer. Even if she didn't go to bed till 9, she's still getting up at the same time. So that's the space that a lot of parents think, well, if I put them to bed later, they'll sleep longer. Generally, no, they don't. But one thing that I have noticed, if you put them to bed earlier and you get that piece in there, that 10 to 12 hours in there that they totally need, they tend to sleep the same. They're generally not up any earlier. And if they are, it's not much. They sleep the same. They act better. School goes better. You don't feel like you're losing your mind. Everybody's peaceful. So I want you to take a look at your sleep with them. If it needs a tune-up, make it happen. Remember, you're the only one who can make it happen. You are in stewardship of these children, and you can do this. Sometimes it's frustrating, but take a deep breath. You've got this. See you next time.